Let's have a moment of silence for C-Mac. I'm here to tell you the Madden curse is real. Woo! It's your boy Hot Soup, and I'm coming to you live with my favorite episode of I Told You So. That's right, man. We're going to go over our top 5 starts and our top 5 sits from week 13. Oh, it's about to be cooking. All right, we about to talk about our first start that I said you must start that burned me this week. Oh, and he burned me in about 3-4 leagues. Man, I had him starting and he might have got me kicked out. Man, I want to kick Chuba Hubbard in his back. Chuba Hubbard, 12 touches, 43 yards, and a fumble. That fumble hurt, man. That fumble opened it up for the rookie to get touches. And he was better with his touches. Our second player, and this was another miss. I said start him. They were going against Carolina's weak pass defense, was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield versus Carolina, 235 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. This guy was a miss for me. Ended up 26th overall in fantasy scoring for quarterbacks with 12.2 points. Baker Mayfield was pedestrian at the crosswalk without looking both ways, running full speed across the street. Yeah. Flopperooski. Our number 3 player that I told you must start this week. He was a wide receiver 3, but he was a top 25 guy. Courtland Sutton had a game. Did his thing on Monday Night Football last night. 13.2 fantasy points, 6 receptions and 102 yards. I told y'all so. You should have had him in your lineups. Our number 4 player, and he was going to have a game. 10 touches and 47 yards for Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill ended up having a season-ending ACL tear in the second half. Ended up being a miss half the game. 26 overall in fantasy scoring for tight ends. 7.2 fantasy points. I can't predict injury. This was a miss for the soup. Prayers out to Taysom Hill. Hopes he gets better, man, and good and recovered by the time we start the 2025 season. The Swiss Army knife. Prayers, man. Moment of silence. That's right, man. Shouts out to Taysom Hill, man. I hope you get well soon, fella. And our last player on my start list that I told you must start, and you should have, Kyren Williams. Yeah. 16 touches, 113 yards, and a TD. Did managers well in week 13. Number 9 overall in fantasy scoring, 17.8 points. Hope you had him in your lineups because Hot Soup told you so. Those were our top 5 starts. I went 2 for 5 on those top 5 starts, but I got hot on them sits. We about to talk about it. Yeah. And our first sit, I said you must get on your bench. And you're probably like, man, fuck you, Soup. I'm starting James Conner. James Conner, I told y'all, would get the volume, but he was not about to just run over Minnesota like that. 20 touches, volume. 81 yards, decent. Number 25 overall in fantasy scoring. Couldn't find the end zone, but had a decent day. 9.6 fantasy points. That's outside the top 20. That is a hit for the soup. I told you so. Our second player who had a decent game but fell outside the top 10 quarterbacks, Jordan Love. That's right. Jordan Love ending up 15 overall in fantasy scoring. There were 14 other options you could have picked. 18.96 fantasy points. He went for 274, 2 TDs versus Miami. Above average play, but not a QB1. Hey, I told you so. Our third player, and this guy got lucky to even get into the top 10, Jayden Reed. Man only had 4 touches, 47 yards. I knew the yardage would be pedestrian, but he scored twice. That's right. Both of Jordan Love's TDs went to Jayden Reed. Who would have known? He showed out with those 2 scores, but mediocre on the yardage. Number 8 overall in fantasy scoring. 18.2 fantasy points, man. Shout out to Jayden Reed. Shout out to Green Bay. I see y'all boys. Our 4th player that I told you you must sit, and I hope you did, was Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams, 5 touches for 4 yards. He got lucky and fell into the end zone for a touchdown. He's still a hit because he was number 37 overall in fantasy scoring with 6.9 fantasy points. That's right, man. RB4. I hope you benched him. I told you so. And our last pick, I told you, get this guy on your bench. Amari Cooper. Listen, Amari Cooper was part of one of the best plays of the year and still had one of the worst stat lines for a receiver in week 13. The moral of the story is you can be great in a football game and still stink up the place in fantasy football. Amari Cooper, 3 receptions, 12 yards, 85 overall. 2.7 fantasy points. That's another hit. Your boy Soup went 4 out of 5 on them sits. Boy, I told you so. That's our episode of I Told You So for week 13. Come check us out for our top 5 starts and our top 5 sits. Later on this week, it's your boy Hot Soup Fantasy Football. Catch me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe. If you have any matchup issues, any lineup issues, and you want to talk about it, inbox me. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. It's your boy Soupy, and I'm out.